Hey YouTube, today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my updated Ahsha or Nectar Bloom deck. So this deck focuses on the new cards that came out in set 8, Absolute Judgement, which is the final set for the Gears, I guess, and not Crisis, but the Gears, whatever it was. Basically when Chrono, Tokuha, and Shion were a team, so that season is over now, at least from the Japanese version of the story, it's over. So I updated the deck to focus on Bloom, that emphasize the new cards from the set. We'll get into those shortly here. So I'm not trying to say that this deck is like the best way to play the deck. This is just really to focus on, to show that you can build a deck with the new Bloom cards by taking out some of the other cards from, I believe, set 6 and set 4. And the deck still works relatively well. In terms of how competitive the deck is, it's not like it's super top tier, but even at the best version of the deck, which I think was probably my previous version, it still struggles with certain matchups like Link Joker and stuff. But they did do some interesting things this time around to try to help them out. So to start off, of course, for Ranunculus, Flower Maiden, Ahsha. This is still your main Vanguard that you want as the main... You want this to be your main Vanguard for most of the game. So if you have to ride your alternate... In my case, I did swap out Inez for Marjuka. So Summer's Height, Flower Maiden, Marjuka. This is a new Bloom Grade 3 that came out. It's a rare from set 8. It's actually quite good. But in order to see the full benefit of running this card, you do need to run the Grade 2 that goes with this. That card is this one. So I am running 4 Sunwheel Maiden Rauni, or Rauni, I'm not sure how to say the name. But anyway, 4 of each, because they're both Bloom. You want to maximize Bloom if you want to use Imatar in the deck, which is the new Grade 4 Stride unit that they got. And both of them work well together. So essentially, they have the effect, she has the effect when she's in the deck, or on the rearguard circle, and I do like what they've done here for Nectar by giving them they stole what Shadow Paladin and Royal Paladin had, where while this card's in the deck, it also has the other name. It has the same name as the Grade 3. That way, if you have the Grade 3 on the field and you don't have anything else to clone, you can clone that by getting this instead of those. So you can save these to draw into them for stride fodder or whatever. So that's really nice. I do like that. That's the only reason why really I'm testing this, as opposed to sticking with Inez as the Grade 3. But in terms of competitive play, Inez is definitely the better backup Grade 3 for the deck, because she can search out Bloom if you have to ride her. But one thing worth noting is that the Bloom skill of Marjuka, the Grade 3, is not GB 1 restricted at all, and it works on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. So still pretty good. And the other thing too about her is she does have a Vanguard effect, a GB1 effect, where when your Rearguard with Bloom is targeted by the opponent's card effect, such as if Link Joker tries to lock it, or if Kagero tries to retire it, that sort of thing, or if Mega Calling tries to stun it, you can Soul Blast 1 to draw a card. That's a really nice skill against defensive decks. So I do like that. That's the main reason why it is worth trying this card out over Inez, just to see if you ever run into that. However, do keep in mind that that's only a Vanguard effect, and it means that Ahsha's not your main Vanguard. So there are some consistency issues that can occur if you run the deck like that, or if that's the main Vanguard. So for other Grade 2s besides Rauni, I am running the 4 Green Shot Elf. It has Bloom, still pretty good, very solid card in here. And then I am running 3 Thuria, so I dropped her down to 3, so I could run 4 of this, because she doesn't have Bloom, and she requires Ranunculus Vanguard, which is not a big deal. But in playtesting, even when before the deck got the new cards, Thuria's skills were usually ones where I rarely really utilized their skills. So most of the time, she was like the Grade 2 ride, and that was basically it. Like sometimes I would use this, but most of the time I would rely on Green Shot Elf for my big plays and stuff like that. So I don't find this as useful as Green Shot Elf. Moving on to Grade 1s, I'm still running Lilga, even though I'm not running Inez, which can search out Bloom. She has Bloom, so that's the main reason why. You can use her, you can clone her, if you have to do a weird Verano move or something, and then like cycle an extra perfect card out of the deck to your hand, so you can still fetch stuff with it. It's pretty decent. The unflip isn't really needed because you don't really have that much counterblast. Really, the only card in the deck that counterblasts a lot is Primavera, the stride unit, but I rarely ever see myself having to use that card. So, yeah, counterblast isn't so much of a problem in here. Next, of course, for Katrina, if you're running Bloom build with Ranunculus, she is Ranunculus Vanguard restricted, just like Thuria, but unlike Thuria, she can become really, really scary strong. And then here's a change that I did. I did bump Padmini back up to 4. I was running this at 3, and I was running 2 Tomboy Elf and 3 Padmini. Tomboy Elf, I found myself not really ever having to use the effect that much. So she's just in here as a 13th grade 1, because I'm still running 2 of the starter, because it's still really useful. And Tomboy at 1 is okay. She does cycle blooms from the drop zone, so she can fix the inability to clone certain things like Katrina or Green Shot Elf, for instance. So she's okay at 1 as a tech card. But Padmini, I want the deck to be able to search out Ahsha as much as possible, since I don't have Inez, and, you know, that's sort of thing. So for the Zeros trigger lineup, didn't change at all. I'm still running 4 Elizabeth. She's your Bloom stand trigger. 4 of the Millis. 4 of any critical you want. That's a Nectar critical. So 4 stand, 8 critical. Stands work really well in this deck when your big Bloom plays go off. And then, of course, 4 heals. And I am running 2 Elmi. Elmi's still really good starter. I do like that she bounces the grade 2 or greater unit that she cloned back to your hand, so you can. It works really well with Bloom. Basically, you bounce Green Shot Elf, so you can toggle Bloom again, or that, or this, or this. Any of them are prime targets, or even this. That's the main deck. For the stride units, it did change a little bit. I did take into account some comments that people made, some criticisms I got, and I did actually agree with them after playtesting the deck extensively. So I'm still running 4 Dream Spinning Ranunculus Ahsha. This is almost always the first stride of every match. The nice thing about this is that, let's say you had to ride your other grade 3, so you don't have Ahsha, like let's say this is the Vanguard. If this is the Vanguard, you stride into this. Now you have Ranunculus, so now Elmi can go off, and now Thuria, all that stuff, and Katrina can still go off. So that's why 4 of this is a must-do. Next, I am running 2 Ranunculus Inglorious Bloom Ahsha. So this is, I upgraded this from 1 copy to 2 copies. It's a lot more affordable now. And it is definitely worth having the second copy, because oftentimes that second one of these usually will finish the game. I don't think I've ever seen a match so far where I ended up striding into Glorious Bloom twice and not winning the game, or not finishing the game right there in that turn. So really good. The second copy gives you so many options in terms of how to play, even the first one, but the second one just kind of seals the deal. Next, I am running my 2 Imatars. So Flower Princess of Balmy Breeze, Imatar. I actually have 3 of these. If I really want, I could go to 4th copy, but I found that I would rather run an extra Ahsha, second one of these, than having 4 of this. So 2 of this. Besides, this thing really only works with Bloom. Like, you get the full benefit of the Bloom units. So that's the reason why I bumped up the number of Bloom cards. Like, I'm running the new grade 2 and grade 3 with Bloom. I kept Lilga in here and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Imatar is a good pressure card. She can gain critical as well with lots of Bloom ability units. So pretty decent, just being able to stride it 1 time. This, for those wondering, did swap out. I did take out Jingle Flower Dragon in order to put in Imatar, so this is not in here. It depends on which one you want. Jingle Flower kind of does the same thing that Dream Spinning does, but really Jingle Flower isn't really needed because of Bloom, because of Katrina, really. With Katrina with Jingle Flower is just ridiculous, but it's not really needed. But he's good because he doesn't use Counterblast, so he's still a really good card. So don't get me wrong. But I wanted to try Yamato. Next, 3 Verano. So I stuck with 3 Verano, even though I rarely see myself having to use this card. It's just really good to recover the field. The reason why we run the 3rd copy is because when you stride Glorious Bloom, depending on who you're up against, sometimes you may anticipate, like if it's Kagura or somebody, that they're trying to, or Narukami, they're trying to wipe your field. So you can use Verano. With this, you can flip up Verano to prepare. So if you have to recover, you can stride Verano, flip up Verano, then you have the 2 there in the G zone face up. That's the reason why we run the 3 copies of it. Otherwise, you don't really use it, and you'll end up flipping up the Dream Spinning instead. So that's the other reason why it's very nice to have 2 of these. So yeah, 3 Verano, because it can help. And 1 Primavera, because there's really no reason to take it out. It's still relatively good recovery card. It just has a hefty cost. And it requires you to have a relatively large drop zone with lots of normal units in the drop zone. That's why sometimes Verano is more ideal than Primavera. Primavera is kind of a lot more situational right now. So that's the reason why I kept Verano. Otherwise, I could take this out completely. Maybe run like 4 Imatars and put in a multivitamin dragon or something. So let me know how you would set up the G zone as far as the offensive stride units go, because this is my current lineup right now. So moving on to the defensive stuff, I am running 1 of the new Flower Princess of Autumn scenery Verna. It's okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty easy to get the big boost. I'm considering getting a second one of these. Because, and I don't know, like sometimes I don't have a big enough field to defend for this to really be that good, but in a lot of cases, it is superior to my Rain Breath Dragon. And then I'm running 1 Dark Element Desmal, because sometimes you do want to ensure that your rear guards on your field don't get killed. So that's kind of why I'm running 1 of those. And last but not least, I'm running 2 Rain Breath Dragons. Rain Breath Dragons are really good to set up to ensure that you have something to use your on-stride skill. If your opponent keeps retiring your stuff, or keeps attacking your rear guards, or you're having to intercept with them, whatever, you can use Rain Breath Dragon just to ensure you can use Ahsha's on-stride skill, or just in general that you have something to clone. So that's why I feel like Rain Breath Dragon is still pretty solid. So anyway, guys, that was my updated Ahsha, Ranunculus, Nectar deck, Bloom deck. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.